Actually, this is pre-recorded.
Hello there! You made it! Welcome to the virtual tour of the University of the Philippines, Cebu. I'm Annie, and I am a proud alumna of UP Cebu. And between just you and me, I had the best 4 years here in UP Cebu. I came from the College of Communication, Arts, and Design, where we did not learn only the basics in journalism and other communication components, but they also taught us how to become relevant.
You only have one viewer.
My college is also home to the Fabrication Laboratory, where people meet and converge to use different equipment where they can fabricate things, stuff for the advancement of industrial and product design. All of this comes from the creativity of the Fine Arts program itself. Hey, Sean, why don't you tell them more about the Fine Arts program?
The Fine Arts program itself, founded in 1975, is the pioneer formal school in the fine arts outside the national capital. The college is also the host to nearly half a century-old annual painting competition, Jose Hoya Awards, in honor of the famous national artist Jose Hoya, and from whom UP Cebu's Jose Hoya Gallery was named after.
As the campus of the premier university here in the Visayas, we have to be good. No, we have to be better, or even we have to be the best, not only in the humanities, but even in the sciences as well. Isn't that right, Sean?
That's right, Annie. In 2014, UP Cebu CENVI, or the Central Visayas Center for Environmental Informatics, came up with high-resolution maps using LiDAR technology. The use of this technology by UP Cebu CENVI provided government agencies with accurate data for more precise community flood risk assessment and management. This helped local government units make informed decisions based on data science and, in the process, maximizing their financial resource utilization. And in the case of the Naga Cebu landslide of 2018, UP Cebu CENVI's use of LiDAR technology allowed for one of the fastest search and retrieval operations in a disaster in the Visayas.
Helping the community through the sciences is very fulfilling. But we were not just exposed to that. We were also exposed to the social sciences, from political science to psychology, and all of these concepts helped shape our mindsets to become better citizens. In fact,
the College of Social Sciences articulates and addresses global challenges. The college offers comprehensive and appealing programs for high school, undergraduate, and graduate students. The Master of Education program is a non-thesis graduate program designed for graduates of the Bachelor of Elementary Education or Bachelor of Secondary Education who want to pursue their professional preparation through future studies in areas relevant to teacher education.
And of course, there were also budding business leaders in campus. They were the ones who had the nose for business but had the big heart to be of service.
Under the School of Management, students are not only taught to be decision makers, but the forerunners in marketing and finance. It also hones those interested in further studies of this field through its Master's in Business Administration program.
Today, I am now a practicing broadcast journalist, an opinion columnist, an entrepreneur, a teacher, a better person, really. All of this because of my training and experience at UP Cebu.
Nurtured to create, inspired to innovate, destined to serve. We at the University of the Philippines Cebu are driven by academic and operational excellence.
And that's it. Thank you so much for joining this virtual tour. I'm so happy you took part. Oh, look, Sean, a lot of people are tuning in.
But the tour is over.
Well, we'll just do it again.
Ready when you are, Annie.
Reinitiate virtual tour.
Good afternoon, everyone. We cannot initiate the virtual tour of Miss Annie, but I welcome you all to another episode of KUAN, the key unarticulated notes from education webinar series of UP Cebu's Teaching and Learning Resource Center, your number one channel for free learning online over here at Cebu. Today at Cebu, there's a lot of cloudy and spread of rainfall. I don't know about your places, but I do hope everything is sunny, even if it's rainy outside. And I do hope everyone is also very excited to learn more about basic group facilitation for today's session. And before we start, let's have our webinar netiquettes.
Webinar reminders. We will be recording the webinar for documentation, evaluation, and dissemination purposes. Note that, by attending, you are permitting us to use any form of participation for such purposes. Mute your microphone during the talk. We want to make sure that the speaker is audible to everyone. We may remove you from the Zoom if you do not comply with this request. Refrain from taking pictures or videos of other participants. You may be held accountable for data privacy violations if you post such photos and videos without consent. For questions and inquiries, you may utilize the Zoom Q&A feature. Questions will be addressed after the presentation. Don't forget to evaluate. The link to the evaluation form will be posted in the chat box at the end of the webinar. It will be accessible for 10 minutes only. Digital certificates will only be given to those who have successfully registered, participated, and answered the evaluation form.
Okay, so please take note of our webinar netiquettes.
Webinar reminders.
And also make sure to tune in to our YouTube channel at UP Cebu TLRC YouTube channel. And for more information as well as updates about our upcoming webinars as well as other programs, you may follow us at the UP Cebu Teaching and Learning Resource Center Facebook page. Okay, so let's call in our TLRC coordinator, Assistant Professor Fernan Bernardes, to introduce to us our speaker for today.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Jara. Good afternoon, everyone. So it is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for this afternoon's event. Mr. Jeffrey D. Pelonio is an esteemed guidance services specialist for the College of Social Sciences at the University of the Philippines, Cebu. Hailing from Talisay City, Cebu, Mr. Pelonio has a rich academic background and also a wealth of professional experience. He completed his Bachelor of Science in Psychology and a Master of Education majoring in Guidance and Counseling at the University of San Carlos. Further enhancing his qualifications, he earned a Certificate of Professional Education from Cebu Normal University and also as a licensed professional teacher and a registered guidance counselor. Mr. Pelonio brings 19 years of experience to his role, working extensively with both basic education and tertiary students. I know that we're all excited to hear our speaker for this afternoon's event. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Jeffrey D. Pelonio, RGC. Welcome, Sir Jeff.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sir
Sir Nan.
Jeff.
Miss Jera, good afternoon. Can I be heard clearly? Is my audio
Mm.
clear?
Yes, the
Ah.
audio is clear.
Okay. So good afternoon. A very cloudy afternoon, no? Parang nagsugod ng uwan. So thank
It's
you for...
sunny inside, sir.
Ah,
We are all happy inside.
okay. Okay, so I'm very grateful, no, to be part of this webinar series. Thank you, Sir Nan, no? for telling our participants the number of years of experience that I have. So that means to say I'm close to dual citizenship na. Okay, so okay, so allow me to share my screen so that you yeah, can share my screen. Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this afternoon, I'll be talking about no, again, no, greetings, a pleasant day to each and everyone, and I hope everything is going well with you today. So I do a very cloudy afternoon, or some siguro places the in Cebu or in the Philippines a bit sunny. So I hope our internet will not be interrupted with this learning session this afternoon. And I am glad that I am invited to be part of this learning series initiated by the PLRC Teaching Learning Center, Resource Center, headed by Assistant Professor Nan Gomez Bernardes. Thank you, sir, for inviting me. So this is a key and articulated notes from education. And then honestly, I'm not sure if this will give interest to our participants this afternoon, since I believe mostly, if not, siguro, most of our participants this afternoon are teachers, and I've they've always been with groups, like groups of students, groups of course colleagues, co-educators, teachers, and even to groups of parents, no, during parent-teacher conferences. So I will be sharing the learning I acquired from my personal experiences, and of course from some of my readings and the education that I have acquired for the past years. So hopefully this will interest our participants, and you can also utilize this one. You can also use this one in your different respective profession, hopefully. So I'm preparing a very short 20 slides, and then two of the 20 slides, introduction, PubMat, this one you are looking on your screen, and the last is the closing credit plus the references. So that gives me 17 slides. So that gives us 17 slides to talk about. So I think we will not be able to, we'll be able to finish this one uh, briefly siguro. So hopefully I can go further sa itong mga explanation. Okay. So, but before that, this is very interesting. Okay, we are talking about basic group facilitation, and I believe you already have this in your perspective, or you already encountered groups. So perhaps you were one of the leaders, Guru, or you were one of the members of that group. And allow me to share a brief story, a personal story that happened way back 2015 or 2016. That was the time when I was about to take I took the board exam, the guidance counselor board examination, 2016 to 15, I'm not sure, within that year. We were the first batch to take the exam outside of Metro Manila, because during the first examinations of the board exam, usually they are going to uh, hold it in Metro Manila. 2013 was the first board examination, and then we were very lucky to have that examination outside of Metro Manila, because it's a bit closer in Cagayan compared to Manila, and it's more, I guess, economically advantage. So mas expensive for us, for me, to be in Manila rather than in Cagayan de Oro. And then we were a group of, I think, 11. Some are guidance counselors already, some are teachers, and some are in religious group. And then we were 11, I guess, 5 males and the rest 6 females. And we even have a Franciscan sister, one of the group. And then we planned to have it, we rented a dormitory, so separating the male and the female. So one room in the ground floor are the males, 5 of us, and then on the second floor and the other floor, the females. So at the time, we were not actually planning what to do, what we're going to do. Just like we rented a place and then we're there together. But it's so in an instantaneous, no, automatically one assigned himself to prepare the food, one assigned himself to set the table, and then one himself assigned to organize and then to have a brief discussion because we were there 2 days or 2 days earlier or 2 days before the examination. And then what I realized at the time, yeah, it's very helpful for me. And then we were successful. All of us passed the board exam. And then luckily, we passed the exam. And then for me, it was a very nice experience since you were there in that group with one goal, to, of course, to pass the examination because it's very expensive and it's very time, I mean, waste of time if you're going to retake the examination for the next year. And then, of course, it's either you're going to practice being a guidance counselor or practice other profession. So it's very stressful at the time. And for me, it really helped to be in that group. So that was my realization. And at that time, if you're going to ask me what was my role, so the other ones preparing the food, some will be or part of the group, or a member will be the one buying or getting food from the store and then preparing and then setting the table and wash the utensils, the cooking utensils. And then for me, I was just practicing my leadership skill at the time. I was the one delegating to in short, wala akong ginagawa. I was just the one eating. But anyway, kidding aside, so let's move to the here. Okay, so basically, what are we going to talk about this afternoon is, of course, our objective is at the end of this presentation, we hope that we will be able to identify group and group works and, of course, the dynamics of the group and how to properly facilitate groups to effectively obtain at least a meaningful learning experience. And of course, I believe that if it's a very meaningful experience, most likely it will stay. It will stay in your system and then you'll be able to practice it and then hopefully it will become your second nature. No, it will become a habit. It becomes a habit. So that's a meaningful learning experience and that's what we are aiming. And of course, the overview of group and group works. So we will explore the definition of group and how group works, and then how group develop, the beginning of a group. And we will also talk about the different group types and even part of the presentation, I am going to share also a guide for planning group meetings and sessions. There are some books they are giving us an ideal format, an ideal sitting arrangement. And next is group process and group dynamics. Hopefully, we will be able to differentiate group dynamics from group processes and discuss types of group processes. There are, I think, Okay.
Okay. Apologies for that, Sir Jeff.
Oh, okay. I thought my internet was disrupted. Okay, that. Okay.
Yes, sir. You may continue.
Okay. So, sige. So, can you still see my screen?
It needs to be reshared, sir. Thank you,
Reshare.
sir.
Okay. That one.
Yes, sir. It's
Okay.
now visible.
So the outline. Okay. So we are on the same page na outline. Okay. And then the effective group leadership skills. So I guess it's also necessary for us to learn and to check if we have that attribute, no, attribute of an effective group leader. And then lastly, the 11 curative or therapeutic factors within groups. So how is it effective? What are the positive impact if we are in a group, if we are going to learn together with groups? Okay, so next, so that will be the outline. So it's just very brief. Okay, so we will now talk about what is a group. What is it? Like, for example, like during siguro some of our I mean younger days, no, I just heard this one that, oh, you're going to go to a group dance, a group study, or a group date. And a group date. So we know that whether we like it or not, we will encounter groups, relate with groups, and of course be part of the group or groups. So in our lifetime, we have multiple encounters with groups. So may it be in our community, in our work or school, or within our family system or relatives. So group is a collective of two or more individuals who meet face to face or not virtually in an interactive, interdependent way with the awareness that each belongs to the group and for the purpose of achieving a mutually agreed on goals. So the same goals. So from family council um, to town meetings, groups are an important component of everyday life. So healthy groups are contextually unique, complex in regard to their multiple transactions and open systems as well. Okay, and then how does a group work or group work? So encompasses all types of activities performed by organized groups. So according to ESGW, or Association for Specialists in Group Work, defines group work as a broad professional practice involving the application of knowledge in group facilitation to assist an interdependent collection of people to reach their mutual goals, which may be intrapersonal, like within themselves, interpersonal, how they relate with others, and then or work related, or like for self-development, or like how they can apply this one in their certain profession. And then the goals of the group may include the accomplishment of tasks related either to work, to education, like for example, like a study habit, or no, for education, like for example, how you're going to uh, learn a particular subject lesson in easily, or personal development, like what are the things that you need to develop, like for example, if you feel like you are limited, you have a limited skill on this, or shy ka, so you need to develop your confidence, or you are not socially aware, not social or self-awareness perhaps, and then personal and interpersonal development, and how to solve concerns, how to manage properly your personal stresses, or remediation of mental and emotional disorders. Like, for example, if very anxious, or you can no longer cope with your anxiety, with your too much worry, na, overthink, like that. So there are also things we can, group can also help remediate or with that particular concern or emotional disorder. So that's group work. There are four. So we have different types of four different types of groups. So the first one, task or work groups, its emphasis is to promote efficiency and effective accomplishment of group goals. And then this can happen in almost in any environment. So it could be uh, in work, school, religious settings, community organizations, or in a civic works. And then it works best with 12 or fewer members because otherwise subgroups may form. So sa Bisaya pa, magbaryo-baryo. So maybe you're asking why it's too small group. It's a very, like for example, if you're given a particular task, so it would be easily accomplished if there are fewer lang compared to a larger group. Like, I don't know if you have this, I don't know if you agree with me, similar to a situation, like for example, if you ask a group of students or group of people to carry a table, like a table with one 1 meter by 1/4 meter dimension, and then you ask 20 people to carry the table. So it would be, I think, magawas niya ang social loofing, no? Not everyone will exerting the same amount of effort. So some will just be touching the table for the sake of just, yeah, we help carry this table. But if you're going to ask 4 or 5, it's very manageable and then it's enough for them to carry. So most likely they will exert equal amount of effort, most likely. But if it's 20, so the rest will just be holding the table. They're not exerting effort. So in social psychology, it's called social loafing. I don't know if you encountered the term. So that's why it's in task or work group, it's very important to have a fewer numbers or members rather than bigger numbers because it's just task or so emphasis is on acquiring information, and my internet connection is not stable. Okay. Okay.
It
I
is
hope.
okay, sir.
Okay. It appears on my screen. Sorry. I hope I can complete the session. So again, psychoeducational group, so emphasizing on acquiring information and developing related meaning and skills. So this group may be conducted in hospitals, mental health and social service agencies, or in school, educational or religious settings, or in any work environments. And then the group size for this, ideally for, I mean, from 20 to 40 participants. And the duration could be from 50 minutes to 2 hours on a regular meetings, weekly, or may vary depending on the progress and update. So I guess if we have participants also or also working as guidance counselors, they are very familiar with psychoeducational groups, usually the conduct of the information service, group guidance activities that can be considered as psychoeducational groups. Or you are going to, like, for example, group of students who are getting barely passing marks or grades in a particular subject. So you're going to have remedial classes or what particular group you're going to call. Or these are students or group of students who are with absentee parents or from single parents or whatever. You can name that group. So that's psychoeducational. Then you are going to give them more, like for example, to strengthen, to help them in their progress, in their academic progress. Okay, so that's the psychoeducational group. The next one is the counseling groups. So this is with emphasis on prevention, growth, remediation, and interpersonal and group dynamics. So again, you can have themes like social awareness or self-awareness or team building or leadership potential, strengthening their leadership potential, or even conflict resolution management or strategies like that. And this can be in schools, universities, mental health agencies, and through employee assistance programs also. And then the session runs from 20 minutes to 90 minutes on average. with longer lengths for adults. So if it's you're handling adults na dili na students, so most likely you will have a longer time or duration of your session compared to students or younger, especially if you are catering to or if your groups are elementary or pre-elementary, so it will just 30 minutes or 45 minutes depending on the age. And then the last one is the psychotherapy groups. These groups emphasize on personal and interpersonal problems of living, like how their daily functioning is affected. So some severe or remedial or reconstructive. Compared to counseling group, this one is more on the concern is already there. It's no longer prevention. It's no longer a mild intervention, but it's already sort of your goal is to modify or to help cope with the day-to-day functioning, especially affecting this day-to-day functioning. So this group size depends if it's open type. So open type means admitting new members from time to time. But if it's a closed type, this one is no longer admitting members after the first session, because there are, especially if it's a psychotherapy groups, there are sensitive issues or concerns that it's very ideal if you can complete, and if you're not going, there's no interruption. Like for example, if new members will come in and then you're going to go back with your roles, your household role, in your house rules, in your guidelines, and then explaining things that you need to perform, and what are the things that expected to the participants. So depending on if it's a closed type or an open type. And then session duration for psychotherapy groups is from 60 to 120 minutes, so an hour, 1 hour to 2 hours. And regular meetings often last over a month or number of months or even years. So if you notice, it's more longer, that the length is very long compared to counseling, because it's more on modifications, more on trying to manage the particular, like for example, if you have a sleeping disorder, if you have an eating disorder, so psychotherapy groups may be very helpful for that concern. Okay, so for this afternoon, again, all inputs will be applicable to simple groups lang. So will be formal or informal groups, and mostly relatable to school or classroom settings. So psychoeducational groups will be most likely relatable to most of us, especially if we're part of the educational process. So, okay. And here, allow me also to share the planning or group meetings. So there's is sort of format or sitting arrangement. So this is a round table. So this is to promote equality of feelings, maximize participation of all members, ensure spontaneity as possible. So if you notice, if it's a group sharing or if it's group guidance activities, this is the ideal. This is the accepted or the most utilized format or sitting arrangement. So no one is sitting behind or in front of person. So everyone in that group is equal. So they will have an equal opportunity to hear and to be heard by during the sharing. Okay, so that's the round table. And then here we have the symposium, the upper left on your screen. So the symposium sitting arrangement. So this is to present a variety of views in the form of short speeches or reports for the benefit of the audience. So you have your M as the moderator, and then I think two from both sides of the moderator, perhaps maybe a resource person or a resource speaker, and then in front of them are the audience. And then that's the symposium type, and then the panel discussion, moderator is at the center, and then Parang naiba lang yung, parang it's diagonal na lang yung position. And then still in front are the audience, the participants. And then forum, so a bit on the rightmost na yung moderator, and then the other one perhaps maybe an observer or is resource speaker. So this one for forum, this is to encourage audience participation on issues surrounding the topic, okay, or surrounding the topic. And then to your lower left on your screen, that is the colloquy. I don't know if I pronounce it well. Colloquy, okay. That's to inform an audience through the use of planned questions designed to get unprepared responses from participants for the benefit of the audience. So you have there the moderator at the center, and still on both sides could be resource speakers or invited speakers, or and then the whole house decision making. One the center as the moderator, and then in front the audience or the participants. So this is like, for example, if there are issues or debate issues as a body, or to decide an issue and using an appropriate voting methods. So the moderator or as the facilitator will be able to see everyone, the participants, okay, and how they will decide on a particular matter. Okay, and here, so change comes from many directions, triggered by simple words, like a line from Samuel Gladding's book entitled Group Dynamics. Indeed, simple words can modify, can perhaps make or even break. To attain an ideal change, it must be in the atmosphere of trust. And it is very, it will be more meaningful, or the experience will be more meaningful if there's trust. And then you can easily achieve a meaningful experience if there's trust. Okay. I remember last time when I presented a different topic, organized also by the TLRC last 2 years or 3 years ago, empathetic leadership. I shared, I talk about pyramid of influence. That's how to establish also trust, because the first imperative of leadership is inspire trust. And then how can you inspire trust? So by using the pyramid of influence. Okay. So siguro to visualize pyramids like that, and then at the base there's this things that can be seen or observable behavior, and then at the center of the pyramid is are things that can be felt by the members. So how the leader interact, or how the facilitator sincerely asked, genuinely responded to the question, or to the query, or to the behavior of the participants. And at the pinnacle is the teaching, how you will model, or how you will deliver, how you will teach whatever is being informed or shared. So it will be automatically, they are automatically influenced by your words and by your teaching. So that's the pyramid of influence. It's very important also to have that trust, atmosphere of trust. And very common narratives in movies now with suspense or action thriller themes, where in a group totally stranger, and then they're trapped in a very challenging situations. Then conflict arises, and then there's the villain, there's hero, and then the battle violently. So that's it. That's usually, and then you will be able to witness how the group perform, and then how the group being able to keep themselves safe, and then triumphant at the end of the movie. So usually that's the basic theme, no? My groups, and then they're being trapped, those things. So group process and group dynamics, it's how the members in the group the develop relationship, their interactions with each other is what we call group process. Okay, so that's the group process. And then the forces within a group which are two powerful elements that have a major bearing on group's development and productivity. On the other hand, is what we call group dynamics. Okay, so that's the group process and group dynamics. So group process, their interaction, the relationship established, created in the group. But as a group, how they work together, that is the dynamic, the group dynamics. We will now learn together the 7 types of group processes. So there are 7 types of group processes. The first one is contagion. Contagion, in this process, member behavior elicits group interactions. Example, if one member talks about his, her emptiness and loneliness, like how break up, those things like that, or a very sad story, and then he, she may elicit emotional and physical reaction from other group members. Like some may cry or teary-eyed, and then some may listen intensely because they observe that it's a very sad or a very not nice experience. So contagion. So that's the process of being able to elicit members' behavior through group interaction. So you know how you interact, how you share sad stories, and then members might also be feeling sad. Contagion. The second one is conflict. So at some point we have our own encounter with, of conflicts without interfering, allowing the differences to be resolved by both parties involved may perhaps provide interaction and may bring meaningful change. So without interfering, they have conflict, but they be able to resolve their personal conflict, be able to find resolution to their conflict. So that's a change, that's an interaction, that's part of the group process. It's a group process. The third one, anxiety. To cope with the discomfort of some emotions within the group. And then there are 2 strategies in handling anxiety. So the first one, the restrictive solution, like for example, if you are going to change the subject, and instead of you're being anxious about it, instead of facing it, you change the subject, or you attack a group member because you are anxious about it, and then you, instead of managing it well, you have a different reaction of it. And or detaching from the group, like I don't want to be in this group because I feel like I am always anxious about it. So that's a restrictive solution. And the other one is enabling solution, wherein employing open listening and discussion about the cause of anxiety. So that's also a very nice skill of a leader to have. Like for example, if that leader, that the group be able to identify one member is very anxious, and then will be able or she'll be able to allow to what makes her anxious, or what makes him anxious, or what are the reason or causes of her anxiety. So this is considered to be a more healthy way, so enabling solution. And then hopefully you will also be able to guide the person or give possible solutions or intervention to that to her anxiety. And then anxiety is believed to be a mobilizer of group process. So especially if it is faced openly and honestly. So if that member in the group can openly and honestly admit she has that anxiety or about this particular thing or particular person, then it will be able or maybe resolved properly, and then that is already a group process. There is already a movement in that group. And then number 4, consensual validation. So this process involves checking one's behavior with group of others. So in this interaction, people are questioned, confronted, or affirmed either individually or within the group. So consensual validation. And then the number 5 is universality. It is comforting to know that others within a group have similar experiences and feelings. Such awareness helps people feel that they are not alone in their situation, in their circumstance. Like for example, when we're about to take the board exam, and then I realized that this is she's also very anxious about it, of passing the exam. Meron din siyang mga anxiety worries, like for example, hindi siya makapasa sa exam. So, and then I realized that uh, that's also how I feel. That's also how I feel about the situation. And then that's universality. And then family reenactment, because groups resemble families in many ways, it is natural that some behaviors by group members are connected to issues they never resolved in the past. Like for example, observing, your behavior is a lot like my father or mother or my older siblings, or you sound like my father, those things. So it's like a family reenactment. And in your family, you will not be able to resolve that one, but here, this is your opportunity to how you are going to manage that, how you are going to face that similarity, that sameness in your family. So it's like a family reenactment. And then, yeah, still it's a group process. And number 7, installation of hope. In some groups, especially counseling and psychotherapy, many members may feel hopeless. Like now, parang they have this learned helplessness. Wala nang maka-help sa kanila. So through interactions, experiences within the group, he or her experience in the group, soon she may be able to realize that their concerns are or were just merely resolvable. We can find solution to the concern. And then they may feel that there's hope and that there's resolution to their concerns. So that's installation of hope. May pag-asa na. Okay? So, we always hear that word, no, pag-asa, especially if we are having a not nice weather, may pag-asa. Okay? So, yeah, installation of hope. So, we will now hear just the basic, no, the stages, how the group starts or beginning of a group. We will not talk about group development, beginning of group. So here are the 5 stages of the group. Okay. So forming, so the team acquaints and establishes ground rules, formalities are preserved, and members are treated as strangers. So this is exploratory, orientation, and of course security, like am I secure, feeling like am I safe in this group. Okay, so that's forming stage. And the second is storming. Members start to communicate their feelings. So it's a transition. There may be conflict. This is also an acceptance phase, transitioning from forming to storming. And then members, okay, start to communicate their feelings and still view themselves as individuals rather than part of the team. They resist control by group leaders and show hostility. The norming part is this action. There may be conflict, but owning and recognizing responsibility. This is also the part wherein you're going to assign also or assume responsibilities. So people feel part of the team and realize that they can achieve work if they accept other viewpoints. So the openness and the acceptance being in that group. And then the next one is performing. So this is now the cohesiveness will be put to test. So the team works in an open and trusting atmosphere where flexibility is the key and hierarchy is of little importance. So regardless of who is superior or dominant in that group, so it won't matter. So this is now the working, performing stage. And then the adjourning part is the closing, consolidating, termination, and even sort of assessment, reevaluating. So the team conducts an assessment of the year and then implements a plan for transitioning roles, recognizing members' contributions, recognition of the accomplishments, especially roles or yung performance during the performing stage. Okay. So for a simple group, this is just the basic flow. Like for example, if I'm making a learning session about a particular theme. So this is just the very simple one, the preliminaries. If you are in a school or if you were going to open with a prayer, that can be part of your preliminaries. And then the rationale why you are having the group or the session. And then, of course, you're going to establish rules. What are the things that you want to implement? Like, for example, you have, like, for example, if you are encouraging students from time to time every after break to sit not on the same place so that you will be able to meet and have an opportunity to learn also other members from the group. And then the GTKY, this is the getting to know you phase. This is also part of sort of setting the mood or breaking the ice from the unfamiliarity, especially if you are that's the first encounter and then they do not know each other. So most likely you need to break the ice so that they will be able to be comfortable in the group. And leveling off, expectation setting. So you need to set, I mean, expectation is also important for the facilitator to gauge or to adjust to the needs of the members and what are the things that they want to learn, to attain, to achieve in that being in that group. And then the next part is the activity, your first activity. So designed to, like for example, if you have a specific theme, so for self-awareness, career appreciation, or any psycho-educational learning. So giving of instruction for the first activity proper, then sharing, for example, or in dyad or in small group, or then after that to the big group, reporting to the big group. So if the activity requires reflection or personal assessment or inventory of the self, or utilizing personal responses, sharing to small groups, then big groups may apply. So if it is just a game or accomplishing a task, challenging task, so individual or by group, you may proceed directly to the processing of questions or big group sharing. And then the processing, publishing of the responses. You're going to publish later on the next slides. You will be able to know how to publish the responses. So it's so that others, this is also important, so that others may also be aware and may have an opportunity to reflect on the responses of others. So they know they will be able to learn, that's how they feel during the activity, and then to reflect also his or her personal feeling during and after or while it. Then if there's another activity, like you have another set of activity, you can have or you can place an energizer, or you can uh, like for example, this is also to set the mood. So energizer and icebreaker. Usually icebreaker is for me, it's before the start of the activity, and then in between to set the mood. So energizer. Like for example, if your activity is in the afternoon, so usually most likely you very it's good to sleep in the afternoon. So that's why it's very challenging, especially if you are handling children or high school students, like they're tired already and they want to sleep. So energizer would be best. It would also prepare you for their mood for the next activity. So again, so that's to establish also rapport, the icebreaker, to break the ice, the GTKY, the getting to know you. That's your intention is to establish rapport, and then hopefully students, participants will be very confident in sharing, in being open to what they are feeling. Okay, so are you still there? Napapamudya? Or
Yes, sir.
okay. So let's proceed to, yes, this one. This is now part of the processing, like how you are going to process the activity. And then I'm using to achieve a meaningful experience, the group must be processed properly regarding of their experiences and insights with the activity with the group members and even them within the group so that it will become also meaningful to them. So, di ba? Baka may mga special or different experience sila during the activity. And it's good to know what kind of experience or what is that experience uniquely sila lang yung naka-experience. And it's good to also process that one. So I'm using, or what you have there is the PARS model or the processing, activity, relationship, and self. So in group work, processing refers to helping members identify and examine what happened in the group and their individual experiences of the event. So all effective processing can be thought of as following, no, the PARS, the processing, activity, relationship, and self. So under the question, what we do, so what we would like to know about that, it's a reflecting the activity. So what did we do? So giving you and the participant an opportunity to reflect on the activity. And then how well did we work together to accomplish our goals is reflecting the relationship. How is your relationship affect how you get or how you arrive or how you achieve the goal? Okay. And the third, what role did you play as an individual member in the group in this activity? So this is reflecting self, trying to examine yourself. What is your role? What role did you perform in achieving the activity or performing the activity? And then on the third, under understanding, the question there is, the processing question is, what purpose is there in participating in this activity? So you are trying to understand, check the understanding of the participant about the activity. And then on the relationship part, so you can have that question, how well did we work as a group? So it's reflecting or how well did we work as a group? So it's another understanding. You need to reflect on your relationship. You need to understand what are the things you work as a group, or the opposite, you did not work as a group, siguro perhaps. And then under self, what role did you play in either helping or hindering the group? So understanding the self. What do you understand about yourself? What hinders you? What stops you from performing, from working in your group? And then under applying, so you can have this question, when your everyday lives can you think when you would need to rely on others to help you? So an application already by the activity that you gave or you. And then what did our group do well in dealing with each other that could benefit the individual members of our group? So applying again that relationship that you have, that you establish, that you develop in your group. And then what have you learned about yourself? Now, this is now your time, this question, to check if the participant being able to assess an assessment, a personal assessment, discoveries, realization about his being, his self, and that you perhaps did not know before. And now you just realize, like, I have this particular skill. I have this particular attribute that is helping me. Then I can apply. So that's the application. So that's the PARS model. Again, the processing, activity, relationship, and self. So the PARS model. We have also a very simple one, much simpler for a while here. This one, the basic processing. Okay, this is what I usually use. So I'll just, after the activity, I'll just ask, How do you find the activity? How do you feel after the activity? And then you're going to publish that one. I'm happy, sir. I'm very excited. I am very sad. So all the feelings or about the experience about the activity will be published on a board. Then it will be you're going to write it down so that they will also know. Ah, they will also have an idea. That's what they're feeling. That's what my other members group felt after or during that activity. And then learning could be your what did you learn? Like for example, if you're sad, what makes you sad? Or for example, if yung na experience is I realized there's a realization, and then you can also uh, use that realization as learning. Like for example, if it's a group task and then they need to accomplish a particular objective and then they fail to achieve because siguro part some of the members did not perform well. That's a realization, that's a learning. And then you're also going to publish that one so that others will also will be able to observe and know that learning. And then application. What do you intend to do with that realization? What do you intend to do with that takeaways? So your major takeaways or your insights. So that's just the basic processing. And then, so with that learning, what do you intend to do now? How will you use the insight that you gain from the activity? So if you subgroup or if you have a subgroup, then you must ask one or two from each group. So at least everyone is well represented. Okay. So that's the basic. So either you can use this one. There are guide questions. So you're going to reflect on the activity, understand the activity. How do you apply? What's the application of that activity? With that relationship, what relationship do you discover? Do you apply? Do you understand? And then yourself. What are your realization about yourself? Or you can use this one, the simpler one. You can just ask their experiences and then their learning and then how they intend to do and utilize the realization that they got from the activity. Okay, so here, group leadership skills. We have group leadership skills and leadership and groups are eminently connected. No, leadership is necessarily concerned with group activity. That's from Gardner 1990. And then numerous research studies have been conducted to identify attributes of leaders. However, the role of the leader is crucial to the overall functioning of the groups. And the leader plays a vital role in both the dynamics of the group and the outcome of its members. And here's the list of a group leadership skills. So the first one is active listening. So this is attending to verbal and nonverbal aspects of communication without judging or without evaluating. So active listening is not just what you hear or what you observe, but also uh, the nonverbal aspect also. Like for example, if the person is already bored na, or just like watching the watch or yawning, those are nonverbal cues. And then you can attend to that. You can either make your presentation active or more interesting. So that's active listening. Restating or paraphrasing, saying slightly different words, what a participant has said to clarify its meaning. This is also very important because if you have this capacity to paraphrase, so it means you are listening and then you are interested, especially during the sharing or during the uh, uh, information given by the members of the group. And then clarifying, so this is grasping the essence of a message at both feeling and the thinking levels, simplifying the client's statements by focusing on the core of the message. So it means to say you were listening and then you have that understanding about that message or that statement. And then if you're able to summarize, put together the important elements of an interaction or session, so it's a skill. So you'll be able to summarize, this is what you said, and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. So it means you are really into your mind, and your attention is really into that person. And then questioning, asking open-ended questions that lead to self-exploration of what and how behavior. So this is also to check if the information that being presented is accurate, and also to align if you really understand or you really understood the statement or the sharing. Okay. And then interpreting, offering possible explanation for certain behaviors. So I observed that you were teary-eyed. So I believe you are sad. So those are interpreting based on your observable behavior. And then confronting, so challenging participants to look at discrepancies between their words and actions, or body messages and verbal communications, pointing to conflicting information or messages. And then the next one is reflecting feelings, communicating understanding of the content of feelings. This is to let members know that they are heard and understood beyond the level of words. And supporting, providing encouragement and reinforcement. So it means you are showing your support, your genuine support. And empathizing, identifying with clients by assuming their frames of preferences. You really understood. You may not be in that person's place, but you are assuming if you are in that place, that's also how you are going to feel. So empathizing. Facilitating, this is opening up clear and direct communication within the group. So helping members assume, increasing responsibility for the group direction. And initiating, taking action to bring about group participation and to introduce new directions in the group. And goal setting, planning specific goals for the group process and helping participants define concrete and meaningful goals. Evaluating, you'll be able to assess, appraising the ongoing group processes and the individual and the group dynamics. So how effective the group is. Giving feedback from time to time, expressing your concrete and honest reaction based on your observations or observation of members' behavior, how you observe your member. Suggesting, offering advice and information, direction from time to time. And this is what we're going to do. This is what you're going to make ideas for new behavior or to make an appropriate behavior. Protecting, so of course, safeguarding members from unnecessary psychological risk in the group. If there are or there's a member harming physically or emotionally, so that's your task also, that's your skill. You can interrupt, you can block. This is no longer healthy. Like for example, giving a unnecessary comments or remarks, unsolicited remarks. Disclosing oneself, this is also important. Revealing one's reactions to the here and now, to the present moment in the group. So it means to saying you are really in that certain, you are putting yourself in that certain situation. You are really in the place, in the time they're performing, or you are in that group. So the here and now. So disclosing your genuine also feeling. Modeling, of course, demonstrating desired behavior through action. So you are also trying to influence the members. So in a way, they're also going to observe, that they're also going to imitate, modeling good behavior. Dealing with silence, sometimes there's saying the mystery of silence. You will not be able to automatically give your reaction verbally, but the fact remains you're you silence yourself. It means you are not also judging the person, but you are there. You're present, but you're not making any comments or words or verbal comments. but it means nga you are there, present, supporting, without judging the person. And blocking, this is also intervening to stop counterproductive behavior. Like for example, if you observe it's no longer healthy, it's no longer good, so you can block, you can intervene. And terminating, this is preparing the group to end the session or to finalize your session. Okay, okay, are we still there? It's a very long group leadership skills, but we can, of course, we cannot, maybe it's possible, but it's challenging to be able to memorize everything. But siguro we can practice. The important there is to practice and make it a habit. Okay, so that's the group leadership skills. Okay, and then the next one here, yes, we've come to the last part, almost last part. So the curative therapeutic factors within the group. So this is from Yalom and List 2005. There's an impact, there's an effect. That's why working in group or being in that group, there's a positive effect. It will also help. So installation of hope. So assurance that the treatment or the intervention, if it's a psychoeducational or counseling, the intervention will work. Okay. And then there's hope. Like for example, if you feel you are almost there's no chance for you to pass, like for example, just an example, in math subject, because it's very difficult, and then you are in that group remediation, there's an assurance hopefully installation of hope this will help me pass the subject because I'll be learning, I'll be working in this group, and then we have the same goal. So that's an installation of an assurance that the intervention will work. Universality, so what seems unique is often similar. So that she is not alone in that predicament, okay, in that experience. Next, imparting of information. This provide best practice or effective strategies in managing situations or how to deal with stressful situations. And then hopefully you'll be able to impart also that information. You will also get that mga best practices from other members of that group. And then altruism. This is an opportunity for oneself to share with others. Not just sharing his or her stories, but also lending a listening ear to others. Altruistic. You'll be able to share part of you, and you'll also be able to share also your time. Corrective recapitulation of the primary family group. It means this is an like he or she may not be used to disagreeing with the opposite sex or to older people like his or her sibling, but may have the opportunity to disagree without being upset or emotionally upset. So this will also be your time to correct the things in your, for example, in your family or in your previous group. And the next one, development of socializing technique. So learning the basic skills through sharing, opening up may strengthen or perhaps develop social interaction skills. So those people who are not comfortable sharing or are not into sharing or opening up, this might also help. And then the next one is imitative behavior. So following observed behavior often appropriate attribute. So following modeling of positive actions of other group members. And then the interpersonal learning, your takeaways, gaining insight and collectively working through the past experiences. So you have your past, but then what you can do now, you are in the present. So you can no longer live, but you can just go back, or a glimpse of your past, but you can go on and then continue to correct yourself. Those are your learning. Cohesiveness, the proper therapeutic relationship among group members and the group leader. So this is sharing the same sentiments, relatable to experiences. We bring the group members closer together. And catharsis, example, realization of one's emotional burden being carried for a long time may also be the feeling of relief after sharing concerns. I feel light after I shared these concerns of mine. So that's catharsis. And then existential factors, it's accepting responsibilities for one's life. No, if one talks to someone with more experience, one may realize to work hard for more improvement in life to attain goals. So that's existential factors. Okay. And lastly, allow me to share this one from In Anticipation by Samuel Gladding. Before me is an opening in time. Behind lies a lifetime of training. At both sides and strategically located around the circle are those who depend on my skills. As they wait in anticipation, within me there is measured anxiety. Outside, quite nervous laughter and a few faint smiles, all deft attempts to join with others and create an environment of trust. So sometimes we have our anxiety. And again, groups, regardless of size and orientation, are part of our everyday life. And I hope with activities in groups will be enable to attend a meaningful, be able to achieve a meaningful learning experience, deeper understanding of the content, and enhanced thinking skills. So facilitating a group using empathetic, perhaps listening or empathetic responding will lead to better and meaningful learning experiences. And then with the use of those group leadership skills and knowing the different processes of the group. So I think that ends my presentation for this afternoon. So these are my references. And I hope I was able to give a meaningful afternoon to each and everyone. Wala ba yung nakatulog? This is a good, if we can practice this one as a group, we'll give activities and can give certain energizers and experience. We need to immerse ourselves into the activity, but hopefully it's a meaningful experience for each and everyone. Okay.
I think it is a meaningful experience for everyone here. And I think it's also for some of the teachers, it's also the first time to hear something like this. They often delegate these tasks to our guidance counselors. But at the same time, we can take a lot of key points, no? From Sir Jeff's talk today, how to make groups, especially how to make groups work within our classroom. If you think about it, Sir Jeff, a classroom is still a group, no?
Yes.
And I saw kanina on the dynamics as well as how you will be handling groups. It's not just about the round table. When we talk about counseling, most of the time we see round tables but our own classroom is a group, and oftentimes we deliberate upon learning experiences. We discuss issues inside the classroom, and also we discuss a lot of suggestions and learnings that are coming from our students. And somehow, and in most cases, teachers are technically the moderators of this group. And teachers do understand how to pick out a leader from the class, no, to facilitate smaller groups. And if you are a teacher, it's best for you to be able to look at the different dynamics of a group as well as the different characteristics of a good leader, so that you can also pick out a good leader from your pool inside the classroom and create groups that will be facilitated by these leaders. So I think, Sir Jeff, kanina, you said that this might not be so interesting for a lot of educators, but for me as an educator, it is quite interesting. It is interesting. Yeah, because it does not only have some sort of application in psychology or in guidance counseling, but it has an application on how a teacher can create groups inside a classroom, can motivate the class as a group to create a goal to accomplish, and to allow them to have this group dynamic where they get to take roles based on their capacities as well as based on their leadership skills. So yeah, that's one learning I have.
I am relieved.
Okay.
Because that's
Yes, Sir Jeff.
interesting.
It is actually interesting, and I was actually listening a lot, no, sa lahat ng sinabi mo
I was
in the
about
discussion.
I was about to give a sample activity, but I think we're
Yeah,
limited for the
limited
limited time.
time. Yes. Before we start our Q&A session, there are already questions in the Q&A box and perhaps in our chat box. Okay. I will just read a little bit of things from the chat box. They are saying thank you, Sir Jeff, for this big
Oh.
help, especially when the school year opens. Sir Ryan said that.
Thank you, thank you.
And thank you for I always like Sir Jeff because he's so calm. He's always so calm. Even 3 years ago, right? When we
He's
had
like the
our
same.
empathetic leadership. Uh,
There's no improvement.
I know. Everyone,
Yeah.
everyone is so, you have this very trusting, how do you call that? Aura where
Aura.
people would like to trust you, right? So and
Thank you, Miss
that's
Sarah.
one reason why we love inviting you at the LRC. Aside from the fact that you're really good at what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So are you ready to take questions, Sir Jeff?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'll try my best to respond.
Okay. Let's have our first question. What is the most effective method, I think, to use if the group members are mostly having anxiety and the leader is skilled but doubtful of his skill? Methods, or I think
Okay.
perhaps tips on
I think,
how to move the dynamics of
I
the
think the
groups
best,
here.
I think first and foremost, you need also as a leader, if you are also, you have uncertainties or you have, there are things that you are also anxious about. You need to check also what are those things that makes you anxious, and then what are those things that makes you, for example, uncertain, and then hopefully after realizing that one, so you'll be able to also attend to your members or to the worries or the anxieties of your members. But anyway, if it's too much, because we have our own anxiety, I mean, we have our personal anxieties, whether we like it or not, we have anxieties. But if that anxieties parang nakahinder na your day-to-day functioning, you need to seek a
Professional help.
professional help with that. But if it's just a normal anxiety and then you can still do your day-to-day chores like makapaglaba ka pa and then you can still go to school, you need to manage first your personal anxieties and your uncertainties. What are the things? Maybe you are anxious because you may not be able to manage the group well. And then that's I'm not sure if that's not the healthy way of addressing the situation, because you are already focused on the things that you cannot do. Like for example, baka ma-fail itong group na ito kasi may mga ganito, mga ganun. Then you are focusing on those things rather than focusing on the process, on how you are going to achieve and how you are going to manage the group.
I see. So, sabi nila, no? Tomorrow has its own problem. Let it work on its
Exactly.
own problem.
Exactly.
And also, I remember from the last slide that inside we have our doubts or anxiety,
Yes,
but
yes,
we are always calm on the outside.
yes.
So it's always part of that. And also, as a teacher, you can identify leaders and develop them. no? So that they can be confident in handling other individuals as well, and they can encourage other individuals to become leaders on their own groups as well.
Or
So,
maybe just give an equal opportunity to
yes.
everyone. Not just,
Yeah.
ito, mas masipag ito.
Uh,
How about those
you,
people na hindi masipag? Just
you
give
start
them
to,
the chance
uh,
to to exert, or even to
yeah,
utilize their hidden potentials.
exactly. But it always starts with a in the pyramid of influence.
Yeah,
It
you
always
are
starts
you
with
were really listening, no? The pyramid of
a,
inspired trust. That's the first
yes.
one.
So if you
Building to
can get
inspired trust.
a student to produce that inspired trust in their group mates, they can also like shine light to their group mates to shine their own light as well. They can be
Exactly.
leaders as well. Okay. And that's how you can actually rotate, no,
Oh
leaders
yes.
inside the group.
Exactly. And then of course that lessen your responsibilities and tasks also. I'm not saying mapagaan yung trabaho, hindi ka na, teachers, we know na busy talaga. So at least you can
Mm.
also focus to other things. You can
Yes,
maximize.
exactly. Can maximize it. I remember this one with way back when I was in high school. We have what they call as teams, tournaments, and games. And these teams, tournaments, and games need a lot of strategic like planning within the group.
Yes,
Who will take
yes.
this? Who will get this game? Who will be part of the quiz? Like that. And it really rotates us in helping our group members because, for example, I'm very good at this game. So I would teach everyone how to do the game. So um, it makes the students shine in their own field inside the group. So they become leader at some point inside the
Then you'll be
groups.
able to discover, may potential
Oh,
si ganito, si ganyan. So just
yes.
equal opportunity to each and
Equal
everyone.
opportunity. So take note of that, everyone. Equal opportunity to everyone inside the group.
Okay.
Okay. We have another question here. May Sir Jeff, may I ask how to effectively handle or facilitate a class with 70 students or 3 sections at a time? These
Wait,
are both
again, I did not get the last two
uh,
statement. How to
um
facilitate
a class
a
with
class with
70 students
70
or
students. Yeah.
yes.
You are indeed a superhero with a very impressive uh, attribute or skills because you're able to manage the 70. So siguro, if it's just a regular, uh, very effective is to subgroup, subgroup, and then if you notice the task or group work groups, you're going to a smaller group and then provide a specific task so that they can achieve or they will be able to accomplish the task. So make the big group smaller groups and then provide a specific task or maybe the same task but they're going to focus on the particular like sharing and then reporting, getting their insights, the realization to the big group. So I think that's so that you will be able to share or send also or allow everyone to learn from each group. So to be able to manage well, so manage it in a smaller chunks, small groups, so that you'll be able to manage well. But 70 is for
Quite
one
big.
moderator, it's quite big. A very
it,
impressive
it's
attribute.
already it's almost a whole house discussion, right?
Exactly, and it's very different, and especially if uh, they have different uh, mental state. Some may be not
Exactly.
interested, some are interested, or so you need to make it as smaller chunks or small group discussion. Provide a specific task for this particular group, and then if they can accomplish this one, report it to the big group, and then what are their best practices of how they be able to manage or how they arrive and accomplish that particular task. And hopefully others will also have that learning, that's how they do that specific or particular task.
Yes. That's the most important part about reflecting and
Reflect,
debriefing.
debriefing.
Yes.
Exactly.
even in real learning groups, there must be some sort of debriefing within the group as well. Because new learnings might incite new ideas and curiosity within the students, and you have to correct some misconceptions
Conception.
along the way. Okay, as for teachers being the moderators, you can always use the different formats, no, of group. Depending on the kind
Different
or
discussion, the kind of
the
discussion.
discussion you wanted to incite, no, sa students, whether it's getting a vote, discussing an issue.
Issue.
You can have different formats of how to moderate it, and also to help students be part of the discussion,
The
like
discussion.
having the students as part of the panel members, having students as part of as moderators as well, so it can rotate, no, the roles can actually rotate.
And usually
Oh.
misbehavior occur when that particular member, he or she's feeling she's not part of the group, being alienated. So that's
Exactly.
why misbehave na lang siya, mag-iingay siya, or those things. Getting the attention of the moderator kasi feeling niya is she or he's not part of the group. So, yun din.
So dapat effective handling of the group.
Yes,
And of
exactly.
course, taking the trust of the group first before starting.
Exactly.
Okay. We have another question here, Sir Jeff.
Yes.
Sir Jeff, what would be good pointers for handling students who are averse to working in groups? How do we motivate these students to work in groups or to be part of a group?
Okay. So basically for me, no, I would like to know what are the reason, or baka may mga not nice experience siya being in the group, or ano ba yung mga association na if nandoon siya sa group or in that particular group, or in kung maraming tao, or may mga issues siya, like for example yung confidence niya, or yung may social phobia ba siya, or gano'n. So you need to examine first. And then for example, if as a teacher, if you feel na may difficulty talaga yung bata, you can refer automatically, or you can refer directly to the guidance or to the personnel in the school taking care of the personal social development of the student, so that you will also understand. Kasi if walang yung reason lang niya yung we will only dwell on the reason sa student na he or she's not comfortable working in group, so we will end up assuming lang baka walang siguro to tapulan, or ano bang Tagalog na sa tapulan, or lazy lang to, or so on and so forth, or hindi lang talaga siya gusto mag-work sa group, or like that. So we will need to know first what will be or his or her reason why he or she's not comfortable in working in group.
Also, we can also use what you call as peer influence.
Exactly.
So if this student is having a hard time working in groups but can work in pairs, you
dyad.
can, or in triads, you can actually have them within their with their peers inside a group to encourage them to be working in that group as well. Again, circle of influence.
Circle of influence.
Yeah.
We have the pyramid, and then we have now the
circle. Yeah.
Okay.
I do understand that, because a lot of my students, some of them are very averse, no, in working in groups. But if they have one or two of their friends within the group, they feel confident because
Yes.
they have a support system now. So sometimes it does not work, but most of the time it does.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we have a question here. Sir Jeff, as a group facilitator, how can we ensure that students avoid pointing fingers among their group members if their plans don't work? And how can we encourage them to take accountability as a group?
So again,
Anyone?
we need to establish that when they're working as a group, they're part of that group. It's not only you outside of that group. You are already in that group. So whatever is the decision, whatever is the outcome, you are already part and accountable and responsible in the particular group. Okay, so I think that needs to be established first. So you're a complete understanding na you are already part of the group. And then,
Mm-mm.
if, for example, if yun naman yung the usual, no? Ay, hindi kasi sila nakinig sa akin eh, di ba? So, you can ask yourself, what's in your sharing or bakit hindi sila nakikinig sa'yo? How did you share or say your point, di ba? Baka may mga pagkakamali or in the manner of sharing your opinion or your ideas, di ba? So siguro you need to establish first na that's why it's good nga there's this trusting environment. You are in that group, so you need to understand and accept each and every one. Whether you like it or not, you are already in that group, di ba?
Exactly.
So
And
yun
also
lang siguro.
it's helpful to have a pre-existing rules in the group
Oh,
and
exactly. How's rules?
understanding that one's behavior is connected or in a network within that group.
Mm.
So if one is not motivated to do their task, what would happen to the task of the other members? And you have to like make it as for me, I did this with a lot of my students. They have to sign or they have to like have these not strict but already set of rules that they have to follow to be accountable and also responsible of their own members as well.
Mm.
So there is already a dynamic of being connected and network, no, inside the group. So it's like a contract for them, no? I'll tap your back, you tap my back. Parang ganon. Ugdating. Okay. Another question is for
Before that,
groups.
there's a request here, Miss
Ah,
Jera, that can I show my references slide? Okay la ba? Can I show it again?
yes, sir. You
I'll
can
show
show
it.
it again if it's useful for everyone.
Can you see the screen already?
Yes, sir. You have to resume the slideshow.
Ay, okay.
There you go.
That one. Okay. So
So for those
the
who are
references.
looking for the references, here they are. You can take a snapshot of it or take a picture of it for your as your reference. Okay. Sir Nan, we're down to our last two questions.
Two
Okay.
questions. Okay.
For groups where members come from different religions, is prayer at the start still recommended? I am asking, especially in the case of UP, where
Yeah.
religion is not necessarily taught, but
Yeah.
religion, you are free to, express your religion.
Okay. I've been in religious, it's sectarian university school for the past 14 years practicing my guidance and counseling. And then the moment here in UP, yun din yung mga katanungan ko. But pwede naman, you can still pray, you can still have that recognition, but in general, kung sa ecumenical prayer. So a prayer for, hopefully for, regardless of what denomination, yun lang. You can pray or mighty or whatever, or you can just offer a silence and you offer your personal prayer. Para bang, before we start, let's put ourselves in the holy presence of our own different Lord or whatever, or God or whatever. So just like that. So you can have respecting also the different denomination.
Okay. So as for me, before an examination for my students, I always ask them, okay, bow down your heads and pray to your gods.
Oh, exactly. exactly.
But most of the time, I ask them to have a moment of silence to either reflect or be ready, no, to be in the zone, to be in the space of being in that group. So if you don't like to start with a prayer, you start with a type of meditation or silence wherein the students can actually be in the zone to be in that group. Okay. So last question. Second. This one? Okay. Sir, which do you think is the effective group dynamics? The group members with the same skills or group members with different skills? I have a bias on this one. How about
Okay.
you?
I think it's more challenging if you have different skills because you will be able to learn more rather than if you have an equal skills, depending also on the task that you are going to achieve.
Mm,
But for me, it's more meaningful. That's why it's very meaningful for us to be uh, appreciating our individual differences, di ba?
mm,
So wala namang magkapareha. That's why we uh, work well together with others because we have differences. And then there's no such
exactly.
thing as similar, even identical twins, di ba? They are not similar. So I think for me, it would be best if you have different skills. Ang pinaka-best lang is you have the same goal. You have the
Yes.
same intensity and the same determination to achieve a particular goal.
Mm. That's my bias as well. As an as an educator, I don't like my students to be of the same level and to be of the same skill when being in a group. I want
Okay.
them to be mixed. I want them to be heterogeneous in such a way that they can teach and they can learn from
Okay.
each other. And I think that's the best dynamics when it comes to education. But
Okay.
of course, for work where efficiency and effectivity is highly required, there is some sort of need, no, for homogeneous skills or same level of skills to be in that group, no, because there is a certain goal with certain time frame that you have to execute, no, with quality. And that's the reason why for working individuals, working in a project or a group, it's best to have leveled skills. But in learning at school, it's best to have different, no, skills and levels so that everyone can teach and everyone become can be students or learners in that group. Okay, so I think that ends our question and answer. I'm so sorry if we cannot answer all of your questions, but I do hope you've learned a lot, no, from the question and answer portion and from the discussions that we have. I really like our discussions, Sir Jeff, just like few years ago.
Years ago,
Yeah, I
during
like
the pandemic, diba? That was
exactly. I like
pandemic time.
how every conversation goes and becomes, very meaningful, no? As for me, as the host, it's very meaningful. And of course, somehow I hope our attendees and participants
We have the
also
same
find our
experience,
discussion meaningful.
meaningful.
Okay. So, may I ask that our live stream be turned off for the giving of certificates?